Someone said to me that I was a sculptor. They could have said to me, you're an air pilot. I probably would have understood that better. Because I understood that term, sculptor, but to apply it to me didn't really make any sense. I believe that art came to me, so it's almost like a transitional development. Yeah, I got involved in art in a very natural way. Sort of just looking at bits of wood, bits of material, you know, feeling it, shapes and things, and then that manifested into sort of sculpting them. It was just like tying your shoelace, learning to tie a shoelace. I didn't think about it. One minute I was doing something else, the next minute I was producing art. And I'm producing this art, and then I'm putting it away, and people are saying to me, Paul, why are you putting it away? And I'm thinking, well, what else do you do with it? Sculpture to me is a very profound subject matter. It's a language, you know, that I can communicate well with to the public through the material of the sculpture. Yeah. All the materials are natural to me, none of them are different. I have strength in all of them to work them. Yeah. I work on different bodies of work at the same time, so it's like a multiple creative fusions going on there. So in that sense, I'm drawing from many different kind of like aspirations, inspirations. In other words, my influence comes from the source itself. I'm working with the natural element because the mud, as opposed to the clay, the mud and the clay, they are our literal foundation. It always, you know, the mud, you can use it, you can literally eat the mud, you know, you work with it, it's our shelter. It's everything, it's all encompassing the mud. The language for me, from the past, from the ancient past, it's a ritualistic material, the clay, very ritualistic. Hence, you can see it in the early sculpture, the early art as well, it's there, you know. But for me, it's a foundation, it's a very solidified foundation, the clay, you know, a very profound material, a very informal material, and yeah, you can trace your roots back in it. Sure, yeah, that's right. These bodies of work come through me, so yeah, it's like a mystic journey, shamanistic kind of way, you know? That's what people have told me, in that sense, that your work is shamanistic because they come through you. A lot of the installation work, maybe 3 or 4 bodies of installation work, has been specifically from that, where it's come through, the body of work is come through, and I've tapped into it and I've produced a body of work. I mean, it's not easy, it can take years, some of the work, but once that body of work is complete, I know the journey is finished. I don't have a favourite material. They're all material, they're all worthy of something, from dust on the ground to basalt, marble, whatever, you know, or other metals. They all have their own qualities, and you can do something with them, sure. So I don't have a particular material. I just enjoy sort of the alchemy of each material and where we're going to go with it. And also fusing the materials as well, the mixing the fuses, for an example. Artificial hunger, which is a body of work, plastic and bone. Now that's a nice medium to work with. It's to do with the aquatic life. The fish eat the plastic, we eat the fish. The plastic is inside of us, we become artificial. Well, the first thing I tend to do once I get an idea or a concept, I tend to draw, just to sketch a few ideas, just to have a look at it, you see, on paper. As long as you've got it on paper somewhere, it's fine, you know, you can come back to it. So yeah, I tend to just sketch the idea, suggestion, put it somewhere in the studio. So that's how I begin a piece of work or a body of work. I tend to draw the idea out. Usually I've got enough materials because I'm always bringing the materials in, and the materials tend to be there. So it's just a matter of seizing the moment, really, either drawing something or literally starting as it is. The elemental shrines that I'm doing in the clay. In January, earlier this year, I had this concept to really sort of understand the elements, not just the north, south, east and west apparatus, but the air, fire, you know, earth, the elements as well. So it's a dual thing, and I'm thinking, well, these are the elements that govern my existence. And really it was just to honour them, you know, sort of site-specific outdoor work. Temples, shrines, whatever you want to sort of place them, but that was the idea. People come across them in an outdoor area. They could be significant or not, but they're just representing the most profound thing that's around us and within us, and that's the elements. So to me, that's a master teacher, provider, and everything else that comes with it. So the elements are for me number one priority, that we understand them, you know? Elemental shrines. I use that term la prime. La prime is the primitive. Because when I started out in the 80s and the 90s, most of my work was black and white. In fact, all of it was black and white. It's very rare I used colour. So it was only maybe 2002 I switched to atavist. And that is my kind of like foundation for a lot of my work. The black and white will be in there, symbolic. And that's the, you could call it the tribal essence of who I am. Yeah, the shamanic side, so to speak, yeah. The black and the white, the night and the day, the yin and yang, whatever you want to put it. But the black and the white, that's what represents for me the opposites, the two opposites, the profound opposites. So black and white is followed through from the start, and likewise today it's in my work. My childhood was very, very mystic, you know, a very mystic childhood. Very light, sometimes heavy, dark. But yeah, I took a lot from it. Dramatic as well, fragmented, a lot going on, quiet, silent, loud. You can't really not say that your childhood has an interval. It's a part of you. So in that sense, my childhood has played a major role in the work that I'm doing. It comes out in many forms, bodies of work. One in particular, Ocho Casas, 8 houses, is to do with childhood and, you know, being moved a lot, going from place to place to place. So in that sense, for me, my home became me, myself, as opposed to a building. So, and in that sense also, relating that to the work and the artist, a lot of the places I've had have been studios. I've never much dwelt in, you could call it domestic places. They're kind of like old churches, old barns, and that's from the start really. So I've literally lived in studios most of the time. I think wherever you are as an artist and you get somewhere to work, there's a community going on, you know? There's people coming through, you're sharing. But one thing I do remember was I had a place just outside of Bude, which is North Cornwall there. I was renting a farm and they had children. And there was a little girl there, and she'd come and watch me work. She'd just sit in front of me, And she was only about 3 at the time, but I never forget it. She was like an apprentice. I'd be working and I wouldn't even look up. I'd say, pass me that file. And she'd get the right file, she'd come and she'd sit back down. And I'd be carry on, if I'm rasping a piece of wood or something, give me that sandpaper. And sure enough, she'd get me the right sandpaper, she'd bring it to me. And I suddenly thought, isn't that beautiful? You know, she's just calm, she's just there. And yeah, it was like that. Things like that I remember, you know, very profoundly, you know. Yeah. My work doesn't shock or surprise me. There is, within the exploration or the creative essence, there is a contained, not limitation, but I know it's almost like I know what I'm going to do. It doesn't matter with the materials. I've got an idea. Although they can be stark, but they won't kind of like surprise me in that sense, no. I have an idea where I'm going with it. It's almost like an ancient practice or practitioner, you know. I see it like that, the work that I'm doing. I use candles for lighting, but it's more than just having the candle, it's the light. I need the light in there, a special kind of light. It's just a reflection of the inner light, so it's the outer light. I like the starkness of the work. I'm not talking about the smoothly polished marble sculpture or the other material, but in the sculpture in particular, rawness, that's my thing really. I like the rawness in the work. The newborn, you know, the new life in the work. It's always new. The visual dynamic, I call it, or the visual dynamics. They're always new. Yeah. So in that sense, I do like that. I can go back to it 10, 15 years. It is, that same rawness is there. A lot of people have talked about the art, almost like categorizing it, trying to put it in a place, which is a good thing because I believe sometimes it's better to say blue is blue or whatever, you know. Because the work is so diverse, very diverse. I mean, I know that already, people tell me. It's not for me how I want them to interpret it, it's for them, you know, but what I see is I get strong emotional reaction from it. I get the truth from people. That's one thing I do know I get from them. I don't get them pretending. They see it for what it really is. So someone could just break down and cry in front of me, or they could be just enjoy. Same with a child or an adult, it's like that. So in that sense, it's a truthful thing that the work is representing. It would be honesty if I want them to see something to get from the work. I've had quite a few people say there is an African essence in my work, very strong. You grow as a child, isn't it? It's only if something's really imposed upon you, where you're from, your family tree, etc., etc. I mean, I had a very strong, in a way, family ring with values and everything, but still, it didn't kind of like prepare me for when I was 18. I suddenly realised that I did have African ancestry. Although there was lots of rituals going on around me every day with the family, the food, the way my mother spoke, it was continuous. But like I said, it was only stepping out of the so-called zone and being enlightened by who you are, which I believe is a spiritual thing. It comes to you when you're probably ready for it. So basically, I grew up just living with different people. It was only a certain age where it came to me. This is who you really are, this is your root, this is your ancestry. And it was like a cultural explosive. It's the only way I can say it. It literally gives you another foundation. In that sense, the African essence, where does that come into my work? It's there from somewhere, isn't it? It must be there from somewhere. It's in the bones, isn't it? It's in the bones. My affirmation would be to honour the ancestors that was there before me, you know? They gave me the foundation now to be as I am as an artist. There's no two ways about that. I'm very, very aware of that. Super aware, you could put it. So in that sense, I'm always aware of the people that were before me. It's almost like they're watching me, you know, to see how I'm going to do what I'm doing. So in that sense, I'm grateful, I'm very grateful, I'm very grounded in it, but I'm also very aware that there's an ancestral input into everything I do. Once I was inside my little space with my kiln, that's when the true alchemy began, whereby I would just disappear and I would just spend maybe years, I would just bury myself in my oxides, and I'd be sort of experimenting with the clays, the glazes. So basically it's like alchemy for like 3 good years, and some fantastic work came from that, but that's when I really understood firings, pyrotechnics, so to speak, is the term. So yeah, it's no wonder from that time until now, ceramic and the alchemy of the process going through it has been one of my main subject matters. Clay has always been at the side of me, same way like wood, stone, metal and all the other, but clay has always been there. Because of the processes you have to go through with it, that's what intrigues me about the clay. Everything that comes out of that kiln is like a positive thing. So for example, if something were to come out cracked, that's fine, you know, maybe if that crack is meant to be there and it can support itself, it's fine. But if it's too much, I might have to just sort of, what's the term? Restore it, sure. Like that. But generally I accept, like I said, what comes out of the kiln. You know, I rarely get a disappointment, because especially with the electric kilns that I use now, I literally know the finish of the piece. But I do like the pattern of the finishes. That's one of my things. You see that on a lot of my work, because I'm also working with the metal and the clay as well. So I've got the duality of the two being fired together, different components coming together, open up the clay so they fire at good temperature. They can work together with the glass and different materials. So you know, really open it up to the fullest to see what was in there. The possibilities with the clay is what I'm talking about. The glazes I'm using at the moment, they're like charcoal, wood ash, things like that, just natural glazes. So I've got an idea how they're going to come, and it's only once they come out of the kiln I can start to manipulate them with my own glazes and my blowtorch, and that will finally give it the patina that I'm after with the piece. So there's a process again going on with it, there's different processes, yeah. A lot of people talk to me about the work I'm doing. They do like the work I'm doing. I can see that there's no two ways about it. I get good feedback, always good feedback. And I'm very grateful for people spending the time to share and talk to me about my work, because they can see the other side of me. I only see maybe 2 sides of what I'm doing. So they're probably the 3rd dimension of me, because they're looking in and seeing what I'm doing. I'm developing myself, I'm growing. Obviously I'm not sort of 28 no more all those years ago. So I've moved on with the work is changing itself, there's more bodies of work, the processes are almost different now. I'm very honoured in a way to be an artist, because you know, people give you labels and terms. One of them was outsider. It's not outsider, it's insider, because you're living in something, so I don't see you can be outside if you're in it. But to me, it's just a beauty of knowing that you can create the art. It's there, it's inside of you, it's a part of you. The thing is, not everybody's an artist, and that's the thing. Not everybody's a bricklayer, not everybody's a plumber, not everybody's an orator. We all have different things, you know. So to me, for the sculpture and the art to come to me, I know my foundation straight away, and I stay with it, it's a good thing. And I respect other people's professions, you know, but not everybody's everything. We've all got our own things, and I think that's where we need to remember. Not everybody can be an artist in that sense, or everybody can be, well, like I said, you know, so we have our places in society, and that's how it is. So I'm very grateful. It's a joyous thing that mine is the art, you know, because it's a beautiful thing. Why not? It's a very beautiful thing. Yeah, it's my very first interview, so I'm hoping it went well, and thank you for sharing the time, space, the place, proper.